Hi, everyone. I'm your host, Chris Sands, and today I'm joined by a trio from Mustang Style Brewing down in Chantilly. Is that the right way to say it? I never know if it's okay. I'm seeing a yes. I'm seeing a no. Two different. So, okay, can I get a
Chantilly,
third? Can I
right?
get a third person to weigh in on whether I pronounce that correctly?
I say it with an SH, but I also have a fat tongue. So, like, it makes sense.
You're just from there, so I'm gonna let her have it.
I, I grew up in Western Pennsylvania, and we say everything wrong, so I don't. So I'll just stick with whatever I said. I think this may be one of the first episodes. Oh no, because a couple episodes ago when we did the charity thing, it was mainly women. But the first time where a brewery staff, the women are outnumbering the men. We're joined by the lone man, Anderson Moss.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Who is the sales director for Mustang Sally. Joined by Bridget Turner, who is the head brewer there.
Hi,
and you may recognize her from a couple weeks ago, Chelsea Bailey. She does the social media for Mustang Sally and is an influencer.
Hi.
And also an all-around pleasant individual.
Better. Also a lie, but that's fine.
So I think I can't remember who. Maybe it was talking to you, Chelsea, or maybe it was in communication with you, Anderson. I can't remember, but it seems like Mustang Sally kind of did like a complete 180, or maybe just went from like being a brewery that some people knew about to getting a much larger notice about a year ago. So that's definitely what made me more aware of Mustang Sally. So I want to thank you guys and gals, mainly gals, for coming on to talk about the brewery. Who wants to tell the origin story? That's usually where we start out, like how the brewery got founded. Hopefully one of you know that story.
So Chelsea technically predates me because she was. I came in at the end of February, beginning of March. Fantastic timing considered for 2020. So Chelsea, if you want to talk a little bit about what you've done or what we were doing on the front side, I can fill in the blanks.
So I think he was talking about like the origin of the brewery itself.
Yes.
Am I correct?
Okay,
yes.
I'm happy to take that.
So my understanding is that Mustang Sally is actually the name of the yacht or sailboat that Sean used to race when he was in college. So it's kind of a pet project after he had a professional life in the business sphere and kind of made the transition over to beer about 5 years ago, I believe. And, you know, we've obviously seen the evolution of Mustang Sally from kind of a more traditional style beers to wild cans and wild experiments and a lot of other things. So I hope that helps. I'm so good at talking.
Words are hard.
Words are so hard.
So it's kind of interesting. The one of the founders, he's no longer with the distillery of Lion Distilling, also raced sailboats.
Okay.
I think he does still race sailboats, but he does no longer work at Lion Distilling or own it, whatever.
Yeah, I don't think Sean's sailing any sailboats right now. But yeah, he grew up in Germany. Also, you know, he's had family over there, and he just loved old world styles, lagers in particular. So you know, that was really our bread and butter leading out to start the brewery. And now it's our bread and butter because Article 1, our amber lager in particular, has been you know, more so what has carried our brand. And it has the most draft placement. It has easily our largest volume for numbers. But it just shows kind of what's been going on in the past year, how it's changed, what we want to do with the market, and how we've done it. is one way to preface, I guess, what you want to launch into.
Was he a home brewer or he was just interested in craft beer?
I think he's just interested in craft beer.
Okay. So like he didn't start it and start out brewing there or anything. It was he founded the brewery, hired a brewer to begin with, and then
Correct. And that first brewmaster was actually Kenny Allen from True Respite.
oh yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot about that. And that was in between Old Dominion. Is that where he was?
Correct.
And then he was at Mustang Sally. Then
Yeah. So I've never met Kenny. Hope he's doing well. And True Respite's doing great work up there.
Kenny's a great guy. He's an eclectic guy. He's fun.
Love hearing fun. Love to hear that.
So Bridget, how did you get into brewing? Why, like, what took you to that career path? Because I'm always interested in that, because I've had plenty of guests on who have talked about like the need for making craft brewing more diverse. And one of the things that's always said as a negative to it is that it's not super inviting, even for people to want to. And by those people, I mean like women or basically non-white men with beards. So what made you choose that as a career path?
Well, I started as a bartender. I was a bartender for like 10 years. And I was just kind of getting tired of serving people their drinks and talking to them all day long. So I decided that I wanted to move on with the career path. And like when you've been a bartender your whole life, you can kind of like go into being a sales rep for a brand, or, you know, or just continue bartending for the rest of your life.
No one wants to be like Anderson.
Well, I'm not into sales. Like, I'm not particularly good at it. And I don't know. I have a hard time with it. So, you know, it was either you can serve the beer, you could sell the beer behind the scenes, or then I was like, well, I could make the beer. And so I talked to a couple friends who were in the industry already, and I decided to sign up for brew school. And I left my job at my regular sports bar to get a job bartending at a craft brewery while I was waiting to go into brewing. So, like, I didn't have any concerns about, like, being a woman or being welcomed or not, because really I had no clue what I was even getting into. It was like total surprise.
So pure ignorance just guided you straight barreling towards the career.
I feel like that's the way to do it.
Yeah, it sounds great to be a brewer. I'm gonna make beer all day. Sign me up. And I went to brew school in England, so that was like a no-brainer too. Because I was kind of just like, great, I'll take a 4-month vacation.
Where did you go?
I went to Brew Lab in Sunderland.
Okay, I believe
England.
I've definitely had someone on that went there.
Ferdinand
McAdoo.
Also went
That
there.
sounds like a made-up name.
He's a head brewer for Ornery.
That's what I thought.
Went to
Okay.
college with him, and so he went there. I know a lot. Like, they've definitely had a lot of people pass through there. It's one of the more hands-on brew schools that you can go to. Like literally 3 times a week, we were actually brewing or going to a brewery or doing something more than just reading PowerPoints.
So how long ago was that?
Oh, geez. I think I graduated in 2014. So 6 years.
That's I was hoping it was more recent, because I was just wondering, like, do they even bother teaching? Like, do they only teach traditional styles? Like, I would especially expect over there that it's all just traditional styles, like production brewing type, like perfect the classics, and they
Well,
don't even
England
mention
kind
the
of-
word fruited sour or a hazy
totally
IPA.
not.
Got
I
it.
missed IPA very badly while I was over there because England isn't like Germany where they have like their really like classic awesome styles, you know, that they try to like nail down. England's beer is like weird, and my actual degree.
Well, did you know that they invented the IPA so that it could be? I'm not even gonna go on.
They make beer so they can get drunk.
Yeah.
That's really the point of British beer.
Yeah.
Sorry if I offend anybody.
Yeah,
Yeah,
any
and
temperature.
it's all cask ale too, which is like just born to be oxidized. It's so like not.
What? So you don't like cask ale?
Beer that?
No, I don't. No.
I hate cask ale.
Yeah.
Born to be
I mean,
oxidized.
yeah. It's literally when you watch them fill kegs, like they're just like taking like a cup of beer out of a tank and pouring it into a cask. It might as well be like it is like the silliest process in the world.
Yeah, every time I'm someplace or I hear someone like how excited about the cask that's there, like all it runs through my head is like, why? Like, who cares? I don't want a flat beer.
I was like, I'm not a cask girl. You can't sell me on it.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the idea of like typically it's done where people get really creative with mixing in different ingredients, and that's a lot of what it's done in craft breweries now. And I can get a little excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, I'm never going to drink it because I don't know. I like my beer carbonated.
Yeah. Right. Well, I mean, the British with the beer engine that they pour out of, they put little pieces called sparklers on the actual faucet. So like it gives it like a carbonation, like a foaminess, creaminess to it as it pours.
Barely.
Yeah, but that's like for like legit breweries. But down in like the south of England, it's a little different. Like they like it with no head on it and no carbonation.
I can't live there.
They're wrong.
Yeah, it's weird.
No
So,
air conditioning and no carbonation. No thanks.
Yeah. They don't even belong to the
Wrong.
So how long of a program was that? And what made you choose to go there instead of like to UC Berkeley or to
England.
what's the one in Chicago? Diebel, yeah, it's
People. Yeah, so all of like UC Davis is a really popular one too. But those all had really long waiting lists to get in.
oh.
Like 2 years long. And I'm an impatient person. So I was
I just want to make beer.
now. So I went to England, and I think also because like Siebel is also, they partner with Domans in Munich and half the programs in Germany. And German beer is just honestly better than British beer. So I think that's probably why that school is a little bit more popular than Brew Lab. But, I mean, regardless, I learned a ton. Like, it was
I was going to say, I would think like the fundamentals are still the same. Like,
yeah,
you're probably what you're learning more of, and I'm saying this as if I've ever even attended any kind of class, but I would assume it's more of those like process type things, like how to make from the quality standpoint. Is that accurate, or am I just completely making things up as I ramble?
Yes.
A little bit making things up.
Shut the influencer.
But usually the school starts with like, okay, like how do you take barley and get it to have it germinates itself so that you can get the sugars out of it. And then they talk about like the science of what happens in the mash and like how the
I only had to
sugars are
take a
actually
tour at Guinness to
absorbed.
learn that.
Yeah.
Roll my eyes any harder. I need to like verbalize that so people listening to the podcast knew that I was rolling my eyes at you.
Noted.
Yeah. So
I'll add that to the show notes.
Wonderful.
1453.
Idle.
Chelsea rolls eyes aggressively.
So back to Bridget.
Yeah. Well, actually, let's take a real quick sponsor break, and then I'll go back to mocking learning how to brew professionally.
Wonderful.
We'll be right back.
If you haven't heard about our beer dinners, well, now you have. Typically, the last Tuesday of each month, we partner with a local brewery and craft an exclusive 5-course dinner. Each course is thoughtfully paired with some of the finest craft beer available. You'll meet the brewery, enjoy memorable pairings and service, and have a damn good time. Like us on Facebook to stay in the know when tickets become available, because they will sell out quick.
Idiom Brewing Company proudly offers a delicious variety of beers to satisfy the most discerning tastes. Best known for their wide array of IPAs, delicious fruited sours, and robust porters and stouts, Idiom prides themselves on continuing to innovate, utilizing new and experimental hops, local ingredients, and unique flavor profiles. Idiom has a simple goal in mind: to bring people from all walks of life together to enjoy themselves and each other. Idiom Brewing Company is located in downtown Frederick, just south of the intersection of East Street and East Patrick Street, with ample seating and directly on Carroll Creek.
Uncapped is brought to you with support from McClintock Distilling, Maryland's first and only organic certified distillery. They are well known for their award-winning gin and are rapidly growing a name for themselves for their Matchstick Bourbon and Boot Jack Rye Whiskey that have both won double gold at international spirits competitions. You can visit them in historic downtown Frederick along Carroll Creek for tours and tastings. Go to McClintockDistilling.com for more information.
You got a sword out of me.
I just don't know who messed it up more, me or Bridget.
I don't know, I'm leaving that part in though. And also, I apologize for any noise that may end up getting heard here. I don't know what the people I live with are doing upstairs, but it sounds like they're trying to tear the house apart.
Don't hear anything, then now I'm going to actively listen for it and judge you for it.
Well, I mean, you're not going to hear it. Like, this mic picks up like this far away from it, so unless they're really because it was loud enough to the point that I was concerned for a little bit. When I was working earlier, there were definitely 2 or 3 times that the 5-year-old must have fallen out of a chair, and it was a really loud thud. She hasn't properly learned how to use them yet.
Me neither.
Chairs?
Yeah, chairs are hard. That's why I get ones with arms, because they hold you in place.
Chairs keep getting smaller too, and it really needs to stop.
Say that again.
The chairs just keep getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah, it's the chairs, Anderson.
Okay, yes, I will blame the chair. 2020 has been a little rough. So yes, I will take all my aggravation out of the chairs.
I had a annual review at my full-time job today, and I was just like, I don't have actual professional clothes to go in and have this review. Did I wear yoga pants? I sure did.
I don't even know the last time I had a review.
Well,
I think
didn't have
I've
a job for 6 months, so I didn't have to worry.
I've only had like 1 or 2 in the 14 years I've worked at the newspaper.
Wow. So you're doing a great job then.
Apparently, I don't know. They let me do this. I get to drink while I'm working.
I mean, I think you're doing something right.
Cheers.
I was like, I like that glassware you got there, sir.
It is a pretty cool glass, isn't it?
I love that glass.
Oh yeah, I guess for anyone listening, it's the glass from the Saints Row glass for Hype Bros 3.0 that Chelsea and I grace the presence of. Her because she's an influencer and
Content creator.
Oh yeah, content creator. So Bridget, you went to school in England because they make your favorite beer.
Yeah, totally.
How long was the program?
It was 12 weeks of actual like school, but I was over there for 4 months. Dog, stop it. Sorry.
So where was your first job brewing?
Actually, I was a cellar person at Beltway Brewing Company in Sterling. They're
Okay.
like a contract brewery.
Yeah.
And I that was where I got a job bartending at the brewery, and I convinced the owner Sten to let me work in the back 1 day a week. And I was just cleaning kegs and stuff. And then as it got closer to brew school, I was cleaning tanks and transferring beers and carboning the beers and doing all the the beginner type of stuff. And then when I came back from brew school, I worked full time in the back as a cellar person. So that was my first job at a brewery in production. And then I moved to Tampa, Florida, and became like an actual legitimate brewer making wort.
Was it beneficial to start out like that at a contract brewer? And because
It was.
I would think like the volume and all the different, you're probably encountering more recipes, more techniques and stuff by doing so many different breweries recipes.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was really interesting to look in on how other people were doing things and the different ingredients that they were using, and just their different business models as well. And since it was a contract brewery, like it was really important that like we had all the best tools for the trade, so we had like really expensive equipment and really cool things. And so I came out the gate like learning a lot about a lot of different things. But then it got to a point where I was like, okay, well, like I want to try making my own beer. I want to see what it's like to distribute, like work for a beer company that actually distributes their own beer and does that whole process and like does the sales end too. Like I missed all of that for the first 2.5 years of my career. So I mean, eventually there was definitely let me want something more, but it was a great experience at the same time.
So where did you go from there?
From there, I went to Tampa Bay Brewing Company. They had.
Let me guess, that is in Tampa.
Tampa Bay. Yeah.
So clever. Gold star.
Yeah. They.
You know what I'm not getting a gold star for? The window that is recording this podcast has disappeared, and I cannot get it to come back.
Should we pause?
It's not going to help. No, we'll just keep talking. I'm paying attention while frantically figuring out how to get this window back. But yeah, so that's
Tampa Bay.
Yeah, Tampa Bay.
They've been in business for like 20 years, and they had just been operating like a little brew pub. And when I moved down there, they had just opened a big production facility. So that was where I went to work. It was like a 30-barrel brew house. And I was there for about 1.5 years. And then I moved back here and I helped the guys at Solace open their doors. And I was lead brewer there. And Solace is in, I guess it's technically Sterling, like Dulles area.
Just say Northern Virginia.
Yeah.
Northern Virginia.
That's what we all know it as.
Chris doesn't cross the border.
Not often.
All the address.
Well, I mean, I do. Wow, this is starting to concern me. I do, and now, of course, now I have it. Now it's the only way I can get it to show up is on another monitor, so I'm not looking at the camera whenever I talk. Oh, this is great. Whenever people are allowed to work together in person, I go to Leesburg semi-often because we also the Frederick News Post is affiliated with the Loudoun Times Mirror, and then I also I provide the IT support for them also.
Nice.
Oh.
Know that.
You do IT support, but you've got a missing window right now?
Yeah, kind of embarrassing, huh? Apparently, I'm not good at my job. Well, like the problem. So herein lies the problem. Depending on what I do to try to fix this, it could kill the recording.
Ooh.
So
Plugging it back in.
yeah, so I can't be like super aggressive. Like every time I click, like if I right click, and then this is so interesting for everyone. I'm betting if I click,
Driving down the road, going, all right. Well, we're gonna my IT tricks here.
yeah, it's like I'm glad I don't work at the Frederick News Post and need IT support. If I right click on Chrome and put show all windows, then it pops up. But the second I go to click on it, it disappears somewhere. And I don't know where it went.
I stopped listening. I have no suggestions.
I mean, I'm not really listening to myself either. All right, so then you went to Solace.
Yeah.
And I've never been there, but I went to a conference for beer writing in Leesburg, and there was a gathering hosted at Vanish, where a lot of the Loudoun County breweries brought their beer, so we could, like, all the people at the conference could go through and try everything. And I had some of Solace's stuff there. It was really good, which I would. So that was 2 years ago. Would you have been the brewer there then?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you made good beer. Good job.
Thank you.
Make present tense.
Well, I have not had any of the beer she brewed for you all yet. So
Well, I'm just telling you what you should already know.
Now I can't even give the show up that way.
Technically, I've only brewed like 2.5 of them so far. Since I'm the brand new head brewer.
So how long have you been at Mustang Sally?
I started in October.
So brand new.
Brand new, yeah. Yeah. So once they started doing like their rebranding stuff. Oh yeah, those are my 2 beers. Save Bandit and what's the other one called? Seize the Carp.
Seize the carp.
Seize the
Seize the
carp.
Carp. Yeah, but
Wait, show those again. I can see the screen now. It's not fixed. I can just see the.
Can you get your life together?
No, I can't.
Cool. Good talk.
What is Save Bandit a reference to?
Oh, that's an Anderson question.
I was like, let Anderson take this.
It's from The Office. It's
Oh yes,
the fire drill episode.
Yes, I have. Surprising to, I'm sure, Chelsea, I have a glass that depicts the fire scene one.
Oh, that's
Can't with your glasses.
Isn't it normal to have a glass for every occasion and reference and beer?
I drink everything out of a big stein. Water, cola, beer, liquor, all of it.
Oh, I really wish I could figure out how to fix this.
Do you like want to pause the thing and then start again? Can you?
No, we're going good. This is good.
All right, good talk.
It's really interesting.
I'm providing IT support.
So you were at, I apologize because I was about 70% listening to you, 30% panicking. When you were at Solace, you were the head brewer there too, right?
Yeah, I was the lead brewer.
Brewer.
Yeah,
There's so many different words.
Yeah. Head brewer does like in most cases, people view the head brewer as like more like doing desk work, like ordering ingredients and making sure other people aren't screwing everything up.
Okay.
But lead brewer, in the case of like a big production brewery, is like the one who's actually physically
Boots on the brew deck.
Yes, exactly. Yes. And by the time I left Solace, I think we had a team of like 10 brewers and production assistants. So like I was managing all of them. And I really don't like managing that many people. Like it's really hard. So that's why like Mustang Sally was
I
a
fixed it.
because it's like a one person show.
Okay, now I can pay full attention to you.
Great.
So repeat everything that you said since you started working at Tampa Bay.
Yeah, right.
No, it fell apart shortly after we came back from the break. So I think right around no, we're yeah, I was gonna say Solace is a fairly big brewery, right?
Yeah, they definitely came out the gate wanting to be like a big production facility. It's a 20-barrel brew house, and we started with four 40-barrel fermenters, I believe. But by the time I left, I think there was like 12 fermenters going up to 80 barrels. And it was just like cranking beer all day, every day, like getting into triple brew days, which is a lot of work. I mean, like probably like 15-hour days that they're running over there still.
You
Wow,
mean
so
tomorrow?
they're putting out a lot of beer then.
Oh hell yeah, they are. Yeah,
I didn't
they're
I
getting,
didn't
like,
I knew they were bigger, but I didn't realize they were that big.
yeah, and like I mean, it was like pretty kick ass from the beginning. Like it, from day one, like they just did really awesome, and it was really great to be a part of that, and be help do something so successful.
Let's take our second quick sponsor break. Let me gather my composure, and we will get back into learning about Mustang Sally.
Are you sure?
Who knows what could happen this time? There's plenty of other things for me to break, so we will be right back. There are many reasons why I've chosen District East for where I purchase beer. I love the flexibility of being able to make a custom six-pack or take home a crowler from one of the 8 beers on tap. Their friendly and knowledgeable staff do an amazing job at keeping a diverse selection on hand. You can even purchase artwork from the monthly featured artist. District East is located on Northeast Street in Frederick in the same shopping center as Family Mill and Rockwell Brewery. You can find today's beer lists on the District East Facebook page or at www.districteast.beer. To all you craft breweries, wineries, and distilleries out there, listen up. Atlantic Custom Solutions is the real deal in providing you branded growlers, ceramics, glassware, and accessories like koozies, coasters, and keychains. Their high-definition digital printing, organic ink, and low-fire process ensures your brand is printed in ultra-high definition, giving you a one-up on the competition. We've used Atlantic Custom Solutions for uncapped branded glassware and couldn't be happier with it. Check them out. Visit www.brandmybeverage.com or give them a call at 434-286-4500 to learn more about how they can help you brand your business. Figured I should probably get a second beer also. The way this is going, I may need more. And that's purely an indictment on me, not you all.
This time.
Oh no!
This time.
Drink.
See, I don't know why you haven't learned, Chris. Just line them up, like right near your computer.
Yeah, but I mean, my beer fridge is like 6 feet to my right, so I just go over to there.
The benefit of having the brewery to myself today.
Yeah, they're all over the place for you. Yeah, someone was telling me how much they enjoyed the podcast, and then in an effort to compliment me, they told me they loved how unafraid I am to be wrong. I'm pretty sure it was pretty sure it was a compliment, but
Got good confidence.
yeah, big fan. He's a big fan. So what size brew house does Mustang Sally have?
It's a 30-barrel brew house.
Oh, so
And
that's a not Not a very small operation then.
No, it's pretty big, pretty big. We've got some decent sized fermenters too. We have 4 60-barrel fermenters, 2 30s, and then 2 10s.
So you two are putting out a bunch of beer.
I'm hoping that we will be. I mean, right now, it's pandemic, so it's slow. And, we're transitioning from the more traditional styles into like the more trendy, hype beers that all the cool boys want. So,
Influencers love them.
I know. I love them too. I'm a big fan of glitter beers, so watch out for that one day.
That makes me so happy. Can I help come through that?
Yeah, that's the danger maybe of hiring a female head brewer is that like I'm like, oh yes, glitter beers for sure.
I don't think there's anything wrong with this.
No.
That is sexist.
You guys,
A man can put glitter in a beer just as well as a woman can.
Yes, he can.
I want glitter in a beer just because of how upset everybody gets when glitter goes into a beer.
Yeah.
Like all polarizations of the spectrum, I love the reactions.
Yeah, I love haters.
Can we make a glitter beer together? I want a glitter beer. So that same conference I was at, someone brought a bottle of Utopias and was passing it around, and they I agree with you, Chelsea. It's not good, but
sorry, like I
someone,
said that.
You used the outside voice instead of the inside one. Someone had edible glitter, so I put a bunch of the glitter in the Utopias, and it really, there were several people that did not find that amusing.
That is awesome. I would have loved it personally. I would have been right there with you.
So if you ever want to make a beer with me, I would be happy to make a glitter beer because I think craft beer should be fun, and there is nothing wrong with glitter being in beer.
Yeah, glitter and cookies.
Chris just wants to be on another like label. That is his goal. It's like Pokemon. He's collecting all the breweries.
Good. I'd love that. We're looking for people to be on labels.
There you go.
A label.
Yeah, I was on one label, and my social anxiety absolutely hated it.
I've only been on a couple.
I was like, mine didn't.
Well, so the first one I was on, it never dawned on me till canning day that what if this beer's not good? And so I was driving from Frederick down the True Respite, and it just popped into my head. I'm like, wait, what if I hate this beer? My face is on it. Thankfully, it was good, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, right.
Because that would have been very unfortunate.
I wouldn't really have that problem because I'd be the one making the beer. So I would hope that it would be good.
Oh, Bridget, you'll be on a beer eventually.
It's going to happen.
I'm at bare minimum, at least trying to get all of our pets onto a beer label.
Yeah, I put Ruka. Ruka was on a beer one time.
Lean closer to your iPad.
Oh, am I hard to hear?
That sounds much better.
Okay.
So before the world shut down, was Mustang Sally more of a tap room sales brewery, or were you putting a lot of packaged product out?
So I mean, and anyways, so as the world was shutting down is when we were bringing Anderson on, and we had just kind of started making the
Good timing, Anderson.
It was kind of
Cheers, buddy.
Drank a whole lot this year.
But in November is when we had done the initial rebrand launch and had made the transition from bottles to cans. So we were just slowly just making those transitions and starting to trying to penetrate the can market as everything. So it was just in the beginning of everything that we were trying to do and all the different transitions that we were trying to make. So, but I mean, fairly, popular tasting room spot. We've got a really spacious tasting room. So people were able to have large gatherings and group events and everything else. We have plenty of pinball machines, so people come in, they shoot the shit on the pinball machines. We
We're
used to
not
have
allowed to swear on this.
so.
Yeah, there was that transition with COVID was very strange, because the thing with transitioning from bottles to cans is that we lost a lot of chain placements with that. Having 6-pack formats in a lot of these grocery stores in particular, we weren't put into any new sets with these 4-packs. So the moment that COVID hit, we didn't have any grocery placement outside of Total Wine and a couple spots at Whole Foods.
Are you just bragging that you have beer in grocery stores?
No,
Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, we're
Hey,
cool.
Oh, we can go to a grocery store and get beer.
Hey,
Where do you have to get it, Chris?
well, about a year and a half later, we're getting there. We've got, that was.
No, I meant in general. We in Maryland, we're not allowed to buy beer in grocery stores.
Yeah, Maryland's fucking weird.
See, I got to relate. I got to my Maryland.
Coming in hot with the F-bomb.
Sorry, you told me I could cuss on this.
I told you not to.
No, you didn't.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, well, to be fair, honestly, that's converting into these smaller shop can models is essentially what we started to go to, because one thing that we wanted to do is that we had to change branding up. We were changing the look and feel of the brewery. We wanted to be more energizing, more fun. And the cans were the one way that we were able to show that. We just didn't have any homes for them to go. We didn't have any grocery stores to go into. We didn't get to capitalize off of that big bum rush to the bottle shop or to any of the grocery stores. And at that time, we weren't producing anything on a small batch side that gave us the capability for someone to go to the store and find something interesting to pick up.
So your job was really easy when you started, is what you're saying.
we had a Czech style dark lager that I think lagered for maybe 12 weeks because we just didn't know where the homes were going to be, where it was going to be. Distribution wasn't picking up anything. So that beer was called Half Moon Rising, and that was actually the first little test run on how we could do these 16-ounce cans and start rotating a little bit more. So it's a special model. To keep the tap room more interesting. So we really needed to drive to-go sales. We're a fairly stripped down operation. So, right now we don't have the numbers to be able to be like, hey, someone can go out and run these deliveries, because at the same time, we're simultaneously trying to make sure that the ship's going on the right path.
Yeah.
So, it gave us some time to think about it. And I think really starting in the end of June, beginning of July was when we were able to start kicking things up into high gear. We ordered 2 new 10-barrel fermenters. We ordered a new Gosling canning line to give us a little bit more of a capability. Single fill, about 20 cases an hour. So nothing crazy.
Yeah.
But, we were reliant so much upon Ironheart canning. And first off, shout out to those guys. I love Ironheart so much. I love hanging out with them. They're good people. But yeah, we got to can about 160 cases of a double IPA in order to make that reasonable. Reality is that the market doesn't want 160 cases without a home to go. So finding a way to be able to scale that back and make it interesting for the tap room really kicked us into gear. And, all that time working from the brewery, working from home, it was me and Sean and our old brewer, Ryan, which Ryan, he transitioned out. He's now up with Schilling in New Hampshire, helping develop some of their wood aged sour program. And we just saw an opportunity with being able to play in this market. If we can get a couple releases each month, show what we're doing that's interesting. Because we had a ton of success in the past with, our first DIPA that we came out with, or I guess first hazy, was the Simpsons did it, double IPA. And that was a little bit of a dig on ourselves because we waited so long to play in that game. We were for so long, and it went over really well. So July was a good time to be able to kick that off and bring back Simpsons did it, put it in with the can. JP helped with the artwork on that one. And, we were really happy with it. So it set up a new cadence. I was able to go out and, set up about 20 different small accounts to be like, hey, we're going to bring in these small batch accounts or small batch beers. We don't want to go crazy with it. Don't want to overburden you. Yeah, just something's fun. Something.
So did you guys have a bottling line?
We did.
Did you get rid of it, or you still have it too?
We're trying to sell the bottling line right now. We sold the labeler this weekend to a good old brewery down in Alabama called Goat Island Brewing, which I knew about them because I went to school in Tuscaloosa. They make a a good blood orange Berliner Weiss. But yeah, they came up and picked it up this past weekend, and the check cleared. So we love them.
That has got to be just super labor intensive to can that much beer with a Gosling.
Oh, it
Yeah.
even when you're hand labeling everything afterwards.
Yeah.
Everything thing by itself.
So Bridget, you love canning days?
Label of love.
Yeah. I've always hated canning, dude. Like from the day I saddled up to my first canning line, I was like, this sucks. So I'm not really sure how I kept staying in the breweries, but here I am.
I was like, you haven't quit yet.
Yeah,
Please don't
canning one beer at a time. Really great. So hopefully we get a real canning line one day. But I mean, the thing works great. Like it's really a pretty cool piece of equipment when it comes down to it. But
There's they must have sold a ton of them through this. There's so many places that recently got Goslings.
I think ours is number 5.
Yeah.
Like
No, I know.
Like the number, the model number is like 105. So like we had the first one.
We had the idea first.
Yeah, so we're the only brewery that's ever thought of this.
Ever.
Well, actually, all the other breweries I know that purchase Goslings, they haven't started using them yet. They're just sitting there.
To be
That's
fair,
what-
ours was
that's what
not
when I
commissioned for this.
started. When I started at Mustang Sally, they had it for like 5 months, and they
No.
yeah, they had not fired it up, and I was like, okay, we're gonna turn this thing on, and we're gonna try to use it. So that was my first goal at the brewery, was get that little shit up and running.
Oh yeah, and
I
yeah,
just
it
get the
works
text
great.
messages. I don't work there on a regular basis.
I-
I'm in the building on a regular basis.
to put this into context, Chris, I feel awful because Chelsea's over in Alexandria, and I'm talking to her from the brewery, and she's like, "Hey, so is there any new update?" And I was like, "I don't know." Like it's trying to go through. Supposedly, all it took was an update, but I don't know what to do. We're trying
Yeah,
to
it
get.
was a software update. I mean, that's the crazy thing about like a lot of those pieces of equipment, man. Like, they just like they don't tell you that you need a software update until you go through literally every single scenario and try to fix every little thing, and it still doesn't work. And they're like, "Oh, that's because you need an upgrade." I'm like, "Thanks."
Yeah, they'll be on the
Thanks,
phone with you the
guys.
whole time and wait to the very last second to be like, "Well, have you tried turning it on and turn it off again?" Or have you
I
tried?
already suggested that once tonight.
Yeah.
That's 80. That's 80% of my job. Just telling people to reboot. It works most of the time. I'll tell you what. So both of the beers that I'm drinking, that I've drank, are not. I wouldn't say old, but they're older, and both of them, I feel like, are better than when I had them fresh.
What'd you drink?
I understand that. I see a Kushwal you have now.
So I had the first one was
The dance.
Dan's Jams Plum Diddlyumptious, their imperial version of Dan's Jams, super good. And I'm pretty sure you've had this, Chelsea, the Batter Up from
I did
the
not have
collab
that.
between. Oh, okay, it's a collab between Kushwa and Rar.
Mhm.
Oh, cool.
That sounds lovely.
Did that
It is a
did
Cherry
that
funnel cake sour.
How's the
Does that
Sorry, go
cherry?
can have a little blue tab?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool. I've never
Um,
actually seen that on a craft beer can.
There is some place that ordered a ton of these lids and then didn't need them. There are a ton of craft breweries right now that have these lids because they were put out into the market
Oh, so
after.
it's just an accident.
I mean, you can get them, but
Accident.
yeah, you can obviously you can order them like that, but there are a bunch of breweries that just got them that way because they were surplus from
Bridget,
someone that had purposely ordered them.
Can we just make that a regular happy accident?
so that's the thing. Bridget,
Yeah,
just
that's cool.
order it on accident. It's the same way. If you want to do some multicolored pop tops, I wouldn't be mad either. Sean might. but I won't. And that's 50% of the decision. So,
But you should. They don't cost any more.
no, they don't.
They're the same exact price, and I think it looks awesome when you color coordinate them.
Blue, and they need to be yellow, and they need to be pink and green and happiness.
But yeah,
And
both
glitter.
Idiom. I don't think they make glitter ones, but that's a good idea. Maybe you could pitch it to them.
I will come and hand glitter them.
Idiom and Frederick has started doing that. They've started using the different colors to coordinate with the color of the can.
Nice.
And Fourscore has always done that.
Cool. Let's do it.
I'm down.
I like this. It's
Yeah.
more like a marketing meeting, and you just happen to be here, Chris.
Oh, I love
Yeah,
it.
and
It's cute. Like, I'm really glad that you're hosting us.
And the good thing is that we have a recorded decision. So if I
mean-
do it tomorrow, then I'm
We
literally
do. We also have recorded evidence of you going, Sean might be mad, but okay.
I mean, don't worry. There's only 10 or so thousand people that listen to this, so
It's
there
fine.
aren't that many witnesses. So actually, I'm still thinking about how, like, you have a huge brew house by like small brewery standards and pretty large fermenters, and you're canning with a Gosling. That's gotta be miserable. But I mean, like, I'm not trying to throw I'm not throwing shade at all. It makes complete sense. I mean, you obviously bought it during a time that like you really needed cans, but I'm sure didn't want to invest a ton of capital during completely unknown times.
Yeah.
And also, like, you know, and maybe I'm speaking out of place, but you know, our amber and our pilsner, those are kind of our flagship and our go-to. So we were also transitioning to the small batch program as it were. So
Yeah.
you know, it kind of made sense as we were kind of like launching off this smaller program to not like, you know, dive full in and like whatever else. Like, I feel like it was a smart decision as we were making this like transition.
Oh, I mean, they're substantially cheaper, but they still give you the high quality product with low DO and all the.
Now that's not to say that, you know, what we want to do eventually is obviously we want to switch to a 5-fill head on the Goslings and be able to bust them out,
Which would definitely be more in line with the rest of the brewery size.
So, and that's kind of a cool little segment is that, like, that's what 2021 is really bringing in, a lot of new opportunities. Is that the past year it gave us a lot of time to refocus what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I think one thing that all of us really wanted to do is just show where the brand was at now, how it's changing and how it can be fluid. Because, I mean, it was changing every single day with new restrictions that were coming in, new things that we wanted to do. The market's still changing, and we were still rough on what we wanted to do. So we got to really pick up on, see what was going to happen, see where the commitment might be able to come through, especially with our distributor, because our distributor picking up the beer, the biggest end all be all. So, you know, November was a good timing. We got a monthly feature over at Total Wine, and that gave a good opportunity to showcase a lot of our double IPAs in particular. So, you know, that number in the IRI data was able to translate, and it looks like by the time of March, we are going to be able to break into Harris Teeter, you know, with a full distribution deal that will be able to help signal.
Oh, I can go shop at a grocery store and get beer.
I need those volume numbers, man. I'll take it. but realistically, that's
grocery shopping beer drinkers they pay the same kind of money.
That's why I'm trying to play in both, and that's also why I'm trying.
No, I mean, it's awesome. I wish I could run to the grocery store, pick up some lunch meat and a 4-pack, but I'm not allowed because I'm in Maryland.
To be fair, at the same time, I want to go to my grocery store and pick up a beer that's outside of the 12 to. No, I take that back. I'm lying now. They're like 25 brands each at each grocery store.
Yeah, but that's about it. And like,
it's a complete.
Yeah, I mean, I would still go to my local.
I mean, like, I know that Maryland, you can't shop the way that we do here in Virginia, but I mean, like, it's still like a bit of a hindrance that I have to go to a beer shop to go pick up things when I just want to do one-stop shop and pick up all the items in one day and go home.
I will say the interaction that you get, you know, this is kind of on a different note, but samplings in particular, when I was doing tastings up in Maryland, when doing it at the more independent bottle shops, that was my favorite experience I could ever have, because Western Maryland people are the most opinionated people that will ever front you. And I was with Bold Rock, and Bold Rock Hard Cider was not sweet enough for them. So half the clientele drinkers that I was going towards, they wanted something a little bit more heavy F&B product, or something more on the Angry Orchard side even, that was fully sweet. But I love the opinions that people were willing to give you straight up. Everybody wants to be reserved.
Did you really? Did you really love their opinions?
Honestly, I did, because I was on the back end of that job. So I got a big kick out of it. But it was also, it was truthful, because at the same time, I went back to Bold Rock and I was like, hey, stop sending me the Granny Smith apple. Send me the Virginia Draft. That is a red apple cider. It's going to be a lot sweeter, a lot more mellow. It'll work better. And on top of that, I didn't have cans up in that market. You don't have cans in Maryland. It's very hard to play in that game. So,
yeah, and I would also argue, though, like, going to your local beer store, you're gonna they're probably taking actually, well, like the places I go to, I know they're going to take much better care of the beer than what's going to be done at a grocery store. Like,
and they're going to help upsell it too. You know, those evangelists that you want in your corner, that want to help push that brand. You're not going to get that from any Joe that's a 17-year-old stocking shelves right now.
Yeah, I love that. The places I frequent, I can walk in and they're like, "Hey, Chris, try this." And
see, I still walk into places there like, "Do you need help?
Are you lost, little girl?
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, good. We're still doing this." And I'm like, "Good." And then like 5 minutes later, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "I'm looking at the labels. Leave me alone."
Chelsea, I feel like you like Ron Swanson going into Lowe's when he's like, "Can I help you with anything?" He's like, "I know more than you."
Yeah.
I don't say it. I resist the urge.
I
Just
feel like
wait for him
I've
to
said
sell
it.
you on the sour and then just bounce.
I feel like you have more of a leg to stand on, Bridget. You'd be like, "I literally made this beer here. Shut the fuck up."
Not always, actually, you know, like as far as like the different breweries go, Anderson definitely knows more about other breweries than I do. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know that much about. Not that I don't know that much. I mean, I know more than like the average person. But like as far as like people who enjoy beer, I think the different breweries and the beers that they make is probably my weak point. But how to actually make beer, I can do that part.
Well, I think
Bring you beer. That's why I'm going to bring you every single beer that we have.
Yeah, I love that. I love drinking beer, so that's a plus for me.
We have a lot
I
of
dropped off the Hype Roast 3. It's in the work fridge.
Oh, it is?
Oh yeah, awesome.
Oh, that's a pleasant surprise.
You know what else is in the work fridge? Eavesdrop brought over their creme. It's like a raspberry seltzer with actual puree in it and glitter. It's a glitter raspberry seltzer. Awesome. So, you know.
What were you saying, Chris?
I don't know. I feel like I'm just sitting in on your meeting again.
Sorry.
So who drove the rebranding and the reinvention of Mustang Sally? Because you've alluded to it, or just maybe flat out said it too. It's a very big departure from the brand identity that Mustang Sally opened with.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting question, because it's been everybody. Sean, our founder and owner of the brewery, worked with Ryan and Barrett. Barrett preceded me before I came into the role, and they helped develop this Freak Sour series in particular, which is our fruited sours. Normally supposed to be semi-rotational, but the first one they came out with was actually this one, which is the Forbidden Freak. It's black currant, cinnamon, and milk sugar, and it went over incredibly well. So that was the first release back in November, and they saw the benefit of doing that. They saw the success from Simpsons did it in the summer, and realized that, hey, we need to start playing in this game. Let's start doing this a little bit more on the rotational side. But back in, I guess, January, February, whenever I came in, those 16-ounce cans going on the small batch side weren't really going to happen until at least for another year, because we were looking so heavy on the production side.
Mhm.
So it wasn't until May that we released Half Moon Rising, which was the Czech style dark lager. And that was just a matter of needing to get something out there into cans, because we did a collab beer with Ocelot back in, I guess that was in March, right?
I love them.
That's
Ocelot and Adrian, just everybody over there is good people. And
Adrian is one of the nicest people I have ever met in my entire life.
I love them. You know, he's good people. He's good people.
I was down there one time before, and it was when we still had Uncapped magazine, so I was dropping some off there, and I just asked them if he happened to be there. I hadn't met him yet, and the bartender, he's like, "Oh, he's over there," and he was meeting with someone. And I looked over, and he's scary looking. Like he looks like he would be one of the meanest people in the world. So all I'm thinking is like, I don't know if I want to talk to him. So he was talking to the guy for a while. I sat down. The guy I was with had a beer, and when he was done meeting with that guy, I was like, "Hey, Adrian, I want to introduce myself. I'm the editor of this magazine, and I have a podcast." Dude talked to me for like 2 hours. Like we just sat there drinking beer together, chatting. It's just the nicest person in the world. And it was at the end of the day, every employee came over to say goodbye to him and give him a hug before they left for the day. I was like,
he gives really good hugs.
This is like the most amazing place I've ever been, and you are amazing. I love you. And here I thought you were going to punch me for interrupting your meeting.
You're a magical unicorn.
So there was one time I stopped by, and I told Adrian it was like 3:00 in the afternoon, and this is actually prior to me coming on with Mustang Sally, and just told him I was having a rough day. And he was just chatting with me, and he stocked up the Golden Tea Pro, because Adrian isn't. If you go into the Ocelot half the time, he's at the Golden Tea stand. He just sits there just racking his score up. He comped me for like 2 hours of just playing Golden Tea.
Oh, that's nice.
And it was honestly like, you know, it stuck with me, because it's just, I knew him briefly. He didn't know me very well. It's probably the same way that you did when you had talked to him at first glance. And
yeah, I mean, I had just met him, didn't know him at all. He sat and talked to me for, I think it was literally like 2 hours. And it was finally to the point where I was like, man, I got an hour drive. I got to go home.
I think Adrian is a good epitomization of how the craft beer community really should be, especially around here, and about how
1,000%.
You know, everybody's there to support each other. Everybody's there to help.
Yeah.
And I know him in particular, and also the guys up at Rocket Frog in particular. Like, those guys have come out and helped to lend a hand at any opportunity. So, you know, I'm very thankful for those guys. They're great people.
Yeah, I've always been like a really big advocate for like just being like cool beer people. You know, like I think a lot of people get a bad rep for like craft beer snobbery and like acting pretentious, and like that is so far withdrawn from who I ever was. You know, I mean, I'm still gonna like pop open a Miller Lite if somebody gives me one, you know, and I'm not gonna like shit on anybody's beverage of choice. And being a bartender to start with, like, I just love all alcohol. So I happen to make beer. I will drink anything. So I mean, I think it's just cool to be cool to other people and like not act like you're superior because you know a lot about beer. I think that's super lame.
Yeah.
Yeah. So conversely, I was at a brewery up in Pittsburgh. Had the same, like basically the same thing. I introduced myself to the owner, and their response was, "We don't do media." I was like, "Oh,
really?
Oh, okay. Never mind then." Yeah.
Jeez. Like you can't even like be nice.
I'm really glad I didn't ask like right before that, like which brewery that was, because I was just like, "Oh, which brewery?" Like,
it was funny. Like I was recording a podcast with another brewery up in Pittsburgh, and they were thanking me for coming out and talking to them. And I was like, well, you know, some places don't want to. And they were able to instantly guess who it was. So apparently they they don't fit into the craft beer community mold of.
No,
Yeah,
but I mean,
you get a
so,
reputation.
so in March, yeah, we definitely did that collab with Ocelot, like right before the world shut down.
Yeah.
And then like
30 half barrels with nowhere to go.
it was such a weird time, and like, and maybe this is just my perspective, but like it gave us the opportunity to kind of sit back and redirect. And I want to say that Sean, was one of the driving forces in this like rebrand, but the rebrand really got legs once we've had some staff like shuffles and muffles and like whatever else. So I came on in November 2019, and Anderson's come on, Bridges come on, Paul's come on as our tasting room manager. And I think with the combination of like people that we have, we're really giving legs to the rebrand. And I think it's what I love about it, and what I love about working at this brewery is that it's a collaborative effort. All of us kind of have input. We talk to each other, and I think it's a great working partnership.
Yeah. I love tapping into other people's minds about like what they think should be done. And even like as far as beers go, like a lot of brewers are like, oh, I don't need your ideas. But I'm like, no, let me pick your brain. Like, what do you want to put in this beer next?
So
Bridget
is so much fun. And I feel bad right now in particular because she sent me 2 emails over the weekend. When I asked her to like come up with a couple ideas about being like, hey, we might do a little bit of a pastry stout. What do you think might work well? She comes in the next day with,
Glitter.
She's got a college ruled line paper, like every single line is filled, double column for like 3 pages. And I was just like, okay, cool. I was looking for like 10, but this will do.
I came up with like 40 at least. So I do like these massive brainstorming sessions where like, I don't know, I just get like carried away to the point of like being like psychotic. And I just spend like an hour writing down and researching all sorts of crazy shit. Like the other day was like beer names. And I think I wrote down like probably like 20 different beer names, and half of them were terrible. I suck at beer names.
It's easier to whittle down from a lot than to create something from nothing.
So I personally think I'm amazing at beer names. So if you ever need help, give me a call.
Oh, okay. Well,
let the record show that
definitely
Chelsea
take you
once
up on
again
that.
aggressively rolled her eyes. Why is it so wrong to point out when you're good at something?
I'm
Huh?
not gonna lie. I thought her eye was gonna stick. That was an impressive eye roll. It really was.
Why was that so eye roll worthy? I've listed at least 1,000 things I'm horrible at. Doing this in general is one of them. I list one thing that I'm good at other than not being afraid of being wrong, and I get an eye roll. Can't I be good at something?
No.
Jeez.
It's
I
okay.
support you,
I put a Smash Mouth song on a beer this year, and it was the worst flop we've had for a release. So
What was it?
So like,
that was Holiday in my head.
person,
The market
yeah.
wasn't ready for a light blood orange, ginger, and black Hawaiian.
I freaking love that beer.
It's delicious.
As the social media person, I don't like get half of the references of any of our cans, and I have to do literal research of the beer names because I don't watch The Office. I don't watch Seinfeld.
What is wrong with you?
You don't watch Seinfeld.
How have you not watched The Office?
Because I don't like any of the above. So
You
I
think Friends
do
is
my
funny?
research. I sit down. I don't watch
Show a few hands. Who wants me to kick Chelsea out of the conversation?
Only if she says Friends is funny.
No.
But
If you say Friends is funny and you haven't watched Seinfeld or Office, then
I
yes.
don't think Friends is funny.
I do.
Okay, Chelsea, you're back in my good graces.
I mean, look, like I come up with beer names like that. It's amazing. Sam's Jams is one of the most.
Dan, doing it live?
I love doing it live. We're doing it live. We're doing it live.
Well, I hope you're doing
See,
it.
you got the
If
reference.
you're doing it, then it's a problem.
I love it.
No,
Doing
it's
it recorded.
it's a reference to the why can't I think of his name now? Probably because I've had 2 beers that are strong. What's that guy's name? Come on, Anderson, help me out.
John Bon Jovi.
Why am I blanking off first?
Good. You're doing it so good with those so good beer names that nobody knows your reference.
That was Bill O'Reilly, wasn't it?
Yes, it was Bill O'Reilly.
Fucking Bill.
Oh God, he's the worst.
He is the
Why are
worst,
you
but
making a Bill O'Reilly reference?
because it's a hilarious video of him flipping out about something happening, and he just screams, "F it, we'll do it live. We'll do it live."
It's like a Tom Cruise style rant at his like production crew, and he's just like,
Oh, can we do a Tom Cruise beer of jumping on the couch? Like, let's throw it back to the early 2000s.
Oh yeah, the
I
Oprah.
love her.
So who does the label designs?
So we have a graphic artist over in Alexandria. His name's Matt. He does the majority of our work. We do a little bit of a tag team effort occasionally. I've done the design on a couple of our beer labels. I've mocked up, like Save Bandit was one, Ghost of Wade one, 30 Bag.
Hilarious show, Chelsea. Maybe you should watch it.
And now, you know, we're doing the same thing. I normally mock up a label or send off the first iteration. It's just gotten cleaned up in the past like 2 releases where we've kind of etched out this pattern of working with this graphic designer, because sometimes he's very quick on them. Sometimes it's a fire drill. So a lot of the times I churn out a label to ensure that I have something available and something ready for TTB approval. But yeah, and that's another thing for 2021 is that having it clean and concise and fun and unique.
Finger guns.
So I did a beer with Old Mother Brewing in Frederick named $200 Plasma. I bet you can appreciate that
Oh
name.
my God,
What?
that's a not appetizing name.
Are you talking about the TV or the blood?
TV. It's an Office reference.
Oh no, I thought of blood immediately.
Well, there's a picture of a TV, like a broken tiny TV on the label.
$200
I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know, when I was in college, I used to donate plasma. I used to
At
get
least
paid
watch
for
that
plasma.
episode, Chelsea. It's the best episode of any show ever made, at least comedy.
I'm gonna watch it and then I'm just gonna like sandbag it on the internet.
It's called The Dinner Party. Best episode of The Office.
Fine.
I haven't seen it. I don't
Okay,
know.
well, that makes
So
me
it's
feel
fine.
better. Apparently, I'm not the only one.
So
Shoot.
I'm glad you brought up Old Mother Brewing because I love those guys up there. I love what they've been doing. What was it? The
Call us.
Dawn is a feeling.
I'm subtle.
They like to do. They've been on a collaboration roll lately. They
Mhm.
know. They like to do collaborations. I will plant the seed with them.
I love it. You know, it's funny. I tend to drop some beer off to people. Whenever I'm in an area, I'll bring some extra samples and just be like, hey, what's up? I'm in the area. I'm dropping by. And I dropped off a keg to them because we had a keg of the Impressionist on tap for our 4th year anniversary party.
That's a great beer.
It's fantastic. I love it. I really do. And, you know, I went up there and they treated me to a couple of pints of that. Dawn is a feeling. I think it was like a white satin barrel Pinot Grigio, 5-month aged golden
I don't think
sour.
I ever had that.
Oh my God, it's lovely. It was fantastic. And just an overall great day in Frederick. Frederick is one of my favorite places. I love it so much.
Some people would say it's the East Coast capital of craft beer.
Some
Who?
may say
Who?
I used to say it a lot, and it was quoted by the comptroller of Maryland, so it makes it true.
well, that is fair because
soon to be governor. I mean, not officially elected because that doesn't take place for 2 years, but he will most likely win the governor.
Like facts are out the window in 2020, anyways. So
No, that happened like 2 years ago.
So I grew up in Charlottesville, and if I had to hear Napa Valley of the East Coast one more time, I mean, I agree with it, but
It started with Ryan Wagner, the Guinness Brewery ambassador,
Mhm.
before. What was that face for, Chelsea?
I don't even know what face they made this stuff.
I feel like everything I say just annoys you or offends you. I don't know why you agree to talk to me.
I just seen too much of you this week.
So before they opened the brewery, he came on to talk about it, the Guinness Brewery in Baltimore. And he was talking about Asheville, and he kept calling it the craft beer capital of the East Coast. And I kept correcting him, like, no, I think you mean Frederick is. And then he would say Asheville, and I'd be like, oh, you mean the Frederick of North Carolina? And it was just like an annoying joke I did for a year or so. And I figured to bring it back now and then annoy Chelsea with it.
I live in Virginia. I don't care.
Wow.
Because we got Richmond, and we got Richmond.
You have Charlotte.
I couldn't tell you last time I was out in Charlotte, so we also have Charlotte.
I don't think
So
I've ever been to
how many cease and desists have you guys received?
0.
That's surprising.
0. Now, it has been. So I think there was only. I guess there's only one.
There was Newman and Uncaged, and
Uncaged was Common Stores. Uncaged was Common Stores. That was Red Carpet Pick. But yeah, we haven't heard anything from anybody. I will say, I mean, 2021, we are going away from that a little bit.
I mean, you were honored by intellectual pooperty.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not quite.
You ever got a picture? I love it.
It's not quite as prestigious as Worst Beer Blog,
Yeah.
but it's still an accomplishment to hang your hat on.
I was scrolling through, and I was like, "That's my photo." Oh boy.
I'm curious.
Oh, you should send them a cease and desist for using your photo.
I'm curious if they're local. I think they've got a little bit of a slighted view. I feel like
they have to be semi-local.
Yeah. Or at least someone in tune to the scene.
Yeah, I don't know who it is. But like I've always wondered, whoever it is, him or her, do they recognize the irony of them calling out breweries for intellectual property theft when they are posting photos taken by other people, or like they are legitimately stealing other people's art?
I was like, "That's my photo."
I've definitely
Fuck you.
I've definitely photographed a lot of beers that could be featured on there, but they've never used any of them.
You know,
Kidding.
when I was at Solace, like we only ever got one cease and desist that I can remember at Solace, and it was like not even for one of the beers that we like stole a reference from.
What was it for?
I think it was called Easy Peasy, and it was like a lemon milkshake IPA, and it was
Who holds the trademark for Easy Peasy?
Another brewery with a beer called Easy Peasy.
Huh.
But that was the only other time. Like, I mean, I know that like actual lawsuits do come out of some of this stuff, but I mean, I've been in the industry for 8 years, and I've never gotten anything close to being like scary.
So Sean did send me actually, or he told me about it. This is prior to me coming on, but we got a cease and desist from the Los Angeles Angels about a beer called Better Angels.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's just honestly, I can't speak to that beer as much. Safe to assume it was probably a pretty malty IPA.
Did it have anything to do with the?
No,
it was just called Better Angels,
and it just had angels in the name, and they thought there was a problem with that.
Yeah, maybe they were like, sensitive to like, hey, maybe that Pujols acquisition wasn't the best move to get rid of.
There's literally no way that they could hold a trademark.
And that's not when we were doing like super fancy labels. We were pretty consistent with our labels and just kind of like putting the name and like changing the color. So it's not like it was even like remotely stylized like Los Angeles.
Did you follow the saga at all between Hysteria Brewing and the NFL.
No,
I'm here for it.
It's
What's going on?
pretty. I highly recommend listening to the episode where we talk about that, because one, Ty, their marketing, brewer, salesperson,
Literally,
trifecta.
how do you have all the time to do that in the day? Because the three of us have that job.
he mainly just does sales, but he talks about doing all those other things, and I'll probably get a message from him after he listens to this berating me.
I feel him.
So they posted the artwork for this beer they were going to come out with called #MVP, and it was obviously the likeness of Lamar Jackson. And
I saw this.
even though, I mean, it was pretty close to not him, but it got picked up by like every major Baltimore media outlet, TV.
Okay.
Baltimore Sun had an article about it. They eventually got a letter from the NFL.
Oh, I'm looking
saying,
at
sorry, you can't do that. And they ended up, I mean, the NFL worked with them, their lawyers worked with them, and they were able to alter the label enough that they didn't have a problem with it. And they came out with the beer. It was still named #MVP. I think they removed the 8 from the jersey though. And there was a couple other tweaks that they told them they wanted to make.
So I'm looking at it now. It looks like they put a face shield over his eyes.
The face shield was actually always there. You could. Oh wait, no. Originally, I think there were.
Looks like they just include the Hysteria logo out,
Yeah.
like the Descript Raven, and then the Hysteria on the front.
Yeah.
It still looks something similar, but I see where you're going with. It's similar to like that Barry Sanders one recently.
Well, that was just a straight ripoff.
Yeah,
But the best part of the whole story is that they came out with a beer shortly after it named "This Paper Actually Smells Amazing," because they said the cease and desist was scented. So,
What?
yeah, like he said, he opened the envelope and it just smelled amazing. So they came out with a beer that said this paper actually smells amazing. Oh, I wish I could.
That is awesome.
I think I have an empty can of it here because I'm not going to do justice of what it said, but it was like a toilet with a potpourri bowl on it and then a letter inside of the bowl. And it was like, "Dear Hysteria, blah, 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 blah." And then just like NF and cut off.
I love that.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. But listening to him tell the story is hilarious.
Is that the one you did with Hysteria and Idiom? Or is that just...
No, that was I'm Trying to Nap, and that was just with Hysteria. Oh, well, there was... What's that?
That was your pandemic beer.
That kicked off the pandemic. But there was one with Hysteria, True Respite, and Oscars. Not Oliver. Sorry, why do I always say Oscar? Oliver Brewing Company. We did one together called Dream Team.
Yeah, I love that series of cans. Those 3 separate labels, right?
Yeah, each brewery did their own label.
That was so cool.
Yeah, the Hysteria one, I was the basketball. Thanks. Thanks, Ty. I was the basketball that Ty was cradling.
Go home.
Hate him.
I don't think
Ty.
you do.
So actually, I mean, that is kind of surprising because there are definitely a few cans that have, I would say, gone further than Walk the Line.
Yeah, the Newman and Uncaged certainly are like, yeah.
It's a healthy dance.
Although, I mean, there are some companies and some properties that just don't care because they actually follow like what trademark law is. Like, from my understanding, Nintendo has never gone after a brewery, and there are an unending list of,
Like
of
ours?
yeah, like ours. But see, ours goes a step further where it can't even. It's not even remotely dangerous because there are several stipulations. The only reason I feel like I speak confidently, I've done 2 episodes based completely on intellectual property and breweries, where I had an intellectual property attorney come on and talk about it. So
Okay.
there has to be confusion. Like you have to the consumer has to be confused that they're buying something made by another company. There has I can't remember the other things right now because I've had several beers. But the Super Hype Bros is original artwork. It's not like I think the threshold is 10%. If you change more than 10%, it is a derivative work. And the Super Hype Bros 3 isn't just changing
It's
the
just
Nintendo artwork. It's a completely original piece of work, just with us drawn as those characters.
Yeah.
So those are 1000% safe.
Right.
Well, with the 10% like quotient, like we turned them purple and blue. So
I don't know if that would count, but
I'm counting it.
But there would be very little confusion thinking that like Seinfeld came out with a beer. Like,
well, we're not making it again, so
that's usually the safest bet.
Yeah.
And it's really I find it really interesting how viscerally craft beer drinkers feel about this subject. Some like are hard line, it's lazy and uncreative for breweries to do it.
But you back it.
Was that?
Sorry.
And then there are some that like love that nostalgia feeling, which I fall in that category. I think as long as it's not a straight ripoff, then if it's just calling back to or an homage to, I love that because I love that, you know, getting those fun feelings of nostalgia.
Right.
And like coming from me as someone who has had photos stolen from publications, like people printed photos I took or made without crediting me for it and just ran them in a printed publication.
Right.
Yeah, I've had that
And
happen.
that infuriated me. But I like when craft breweries come out with an homage to something.
So I think, like, you know, especially on the homage setting, is that, you know, it's fun to bring back those nostalgia tones, and it's interesting to see like what size breweries go towards these type of lengths. It's normally going to be the smaller ones.
Yeah,
it was interesting when Duclaw started rolling out a little bit more of.
Yeah, that's kind of surprising because they've definitely they've come pretty close on a lot for such a huge, widely distributed brewery.
Because you know, we're doing a small batch. We're putting 30 to 40 cases out there. We're not making millions of dollars off of these beers. I mean, I don't know if anybody knows how margins work, but we're not making much on any of the 30, so we're not breaking the bank on that end. But it is interesting to see how it's scaled up and how it might go one way and where the potential is going. Because I obviously don't want to pigeonhole into that. I don't want to keep feeding that market and make sure that we have an identity for ourselves. But it is curious to see when the larger scale breweries start doing more of this. And I think it's more of like is the market really pissed off at this, or is it more okay now? But I think that line is going in between right now, and a lot of people are going back and forth. I think including myself.
Yeah, I was trying to quickly look for a bottle, but I think I don't have any left. Where Great Lakes Brewing, humongous brewery, like 32nd largest brewery, I think.
Really?
Came out with like surprise. Like I knew they were big, but I didn't realize they were that big.
I thought Bell's was bigger than them, but
well, they may be the 31st. I don't know. There's 31.
This talk, Chris.
they came out with a Belgian triple named Triple Dog Dare You, or Triple Dog Dare, and
Yeah.
it has 3 dogs running with turkey legs in their mouths, like an homage to the Christmas Story. So I'm wondering, I wonder if they got, if they worked with them, because they're from Cleveland, and that's where the
Right.
Didn't
Christmas.
you just like post a beer today that was in reference to the Christmas Story too, where it's like shoot your eye out?
Yeah, I did. That one definitely crossed the line, and they did not do it in collaboration with anyone involved with the Christmas Story.
I was like, I swore I saw that posted earlier.
Yeah, that one was called "You'll Shoot Your Eye Out," and it was a peppermint something stout. It was really good from Brewery Fire, tiny little brewery up in
I've had their stuff. I like.
Westminster. Yeah, I'm gonna make a beer with them in January. I'm really excited because those guys are super. God, I'm just not. I'm gonna stop talking. Just gonna let Anderson. Anderson, you're in charge now. I don't want Chelsea to sprain an eyeball.
Well, so Chris, how did you get into beer in particular?
Funny story. So I didn't drink for. Is this a real question? Do you really want to know? Or,
Yeah, now we want to know. Yeah.
Put him in charge.
Let's see how many eye rolls we can get through this.
Should be an eye roll and F-bomb counter.
You know, if I wasn't lazy, I would, when editing this together, do like a rolling counter, like with a bing. But I'm inherently lazy and will not go through that trouble. I actually didn't drink for a good portion of my life.
Mhm.
And then my wife and I went to the Dominican Republic for a long time high school. Actually, I don't even know how long I had been friends with. I think from middle school on, someone I was friends with, and he was getting married in the Dominican Republic. It was an all-inclusive resort, and I was there with like 10 of my best friends. So I'm cheap also. So I figured I spent the money on this. I have to drink the alcohol. So one of my friends who had just gotten back from being in the Navy and I went, we were in a pool and we just started drinking rum drinks. I told the bartender, I don't drink. Can you just put a little bit of rum in it? Dominicans do not listen to that.
Yeah. Good luck.
And he just held the bottle like straight vertical, tapping the bottom of it, saying, "What? It's a Dominican little bit." So I spent that week drunk. And then I'd say it was my sister and brother-in-law's wedding. I drank some Sam Adams Oktoberfest, and I loved it. Previous to that, like before I stopped drinking, all I ever I think the closest thing to craft I ever would have had was Rolling Rock, and like I drank Guinness here and there and stuff, and so I really enjoyed that Oktoberfest, and right around that time is when I started working at the Frederick News Post, and the CFO who I reported to was part owner of Brewers Alley in Monocacy.
Mm-hmm.
And he also homebrewed a lot. And I'd also just moved to Frederick. Flying Dog had just moved to Frederick. So it was the culmination of all those things where like I was just so much more introduced to beer that I started just getting into beer. Yep. I became friends with the people at Flying Dog because I would go there so often. And then through my boss, like I got to know the people at Brewers Alley, Monocacy Brewing, and then it snowballed out of control. I decided that the newspaper should be doing podcasting. So I built a studio. No one told me not to. And then I started a podcast about craft beer. No one told me not to. And it became popular. And so they keep letting me do it.
What is the timeline on all of this?
Yeah.
What was our origin date into the beers and to where we are now?
2008. ish, I would say, is when, like, that's when I started going to Flying Dog fairly often. And then even though I was in the IT department, because I was interested in beer and I was really good friends with the previous owner of the newspaper, him and I would write stuff about Frederick beer or Maryland beer, and I would have a column here and there writing about beer. We started a blog, and then that died when we both started having kids and our lives got busy, and then the podcast started 4 years ago.
Got it. So you went from like 0 to 60 real quick.
Yeah, basically. Well, the thing is, when Flying Dog first moved to Frederick, they didn't follow a single law that Maryland had in place. You could go there, take a free tour, and sample as much beer as you wanted to. So my friends and I would go and do that.
I would not.
Yeah, I did that once back in the day too.
Beer.
What'd you say, Chelsea?
I said I would not go through that tour like a gazillion times just for free beer.
Oh, I didn't go on the tour.
Oh.
Okay, you would go on a tour, taste.
I remember, I think Flying Dog was one of the first tours I ever actually went on. And it was also the first time I ever drank wort. And I drank it and I was like, this is delicious. This tastes like candy. Yeah.
And that, I mean, that was cool. Like,
Sure.
back then, I didn't, I knew very little about beer.
Right.
The strongest beer I was drinking there, like flavor wise or alcohol wise, was Old Scratch, their amber ale.
Yeah.
I thought the IPAs were disgusting, like hated everything. And then so
Like gone to your full evolution yet?
no.
It's Pokemon.
Yeah. My 5-year-old is obsessed with watching Pokemon cards.
You might be better friends with your 5-year-old than you.
You're probably more on level with her, yeah. And so like touring there was amazing because I learned so much then. I went up to Trogs right around that time, and it was when the owners of Trogs were still doing the tours.
Right.
So I got a tour from them. I went to, so like when I started getting into it, a friend of mine and I would go to the local liquor store and just buy one bottle of just a ton of different things and just spend an entire Sunday watching football and trying different beers.
Yeah. Yeah, that was basically what I did when I first started getting into beer. Was I would just go to a bottle shop or a Total Wine or whatever and literally just try every beer, whether I'd heard of it or not, or whether I thought I would hate it or not. Like, I don't particularly like brown ales, but I've had like probably every brown ale ever because I was just like, I have to know what it's supposed to taste like.
Yeah.
And it was funny too, like back then, like getting the newest Stone or Dogfish Head beer were the sought after beers and the hard to find things.
Yeah.
So, it's funny that so obviously I went to University of Alabama for school. You can follow me along on social media because I won't shut up about it half the time.
So when I interviewed Adrian, I also interviewed Jasper and his business partner that I can't remember his name.
Travis.
And one of the things I asked him, because he was wearing an Alabama hat or shirt or something, I asked him why everyone from down there won't shut up about going to Alabama.
For me, it's the national championships. I grew up with season tickets to the University of Virginia and VMI, Virginia Military Institute. Really depressing football to watch.
Yeah.
So it was very foreign to me. But it's funny, with that same flip side, I went down to Alabama and craft beer wasn't legalized until, or craft beer brewing for the state wasn't legalized until about 2012. I don't think it was. So that would have been my sophomore, junior year, something like that. I was there for a long time. But yeah, there was I used to get the only craft beer store in Tuscaloosa. It's called Corks and Tops. They had about 8 nozzles that they could fill up draft. The growlers specifically were half-gallon milk cartons. And they were just repurposed milk cartons. It's quintessential Alabama. It's everything you'd want. And of course, the only beer that I could really get and that I was introduced to was Andy Gator from Abita. Because I was like, cool, this is a Doppelbock. A 32-ounce fill-up right now is $7 at the place a block away from my house. And that was the first thing that, like, all my friends were introduced to with craft beer, because I was a little bit used to it. You know, my quote-unquote pre-age parties up in Charlottesville, we Blue Mountain, Star Hill, Devil's Backbone are already, like, very high-functioning. They're setting the scene for the craft Virginia scene.
Yeah.
And really a big precursor for a lot of the nation, to be honest. I think they did a lot of work on that. And Star Hill actually broke in junior year to Alabama with distribution.
I grew up in Pittsburgh. We had Iron City and Rolling Rock.
Oh, I'm a big IC fanboy. I just convinced I think Norm's Beer and Wine here in Vienna is the only place that consistently stocks IC in Virginia.
So you drink it non-ironically?
I drink it non-ironically. I do. I don't know. My personal go-to is the old Montucky Cold Snack, but I can't get that, so I got to go to Tennessee. And I go to Tennessee probably like every 2 or 3 months because I'm visiting friends down there. So I go by Total Wine and pick up a couple 30 racks.
Have you ever had the mango icy light abomination?
Oh my God, no! That's
Anderson, can you just bring some of this like icy beer in, because I need to understand what you guys are talking about.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I think it's a bastardized to be honest.
Say that again, Anderson. You cut out a little bit.
It tastes like a bastardized Keystone Light and PBR.
That's fine. I have to experience it.
But
I can get some at the end of this week when I'm up there. I will bring down some Iron City.
I love it. I'm actually trying to get up to Frederick within the next 2 weeks, so it's a good opportunity.
If you make it up here, I will make sure I get some then to bring, and then you let me know when you're here, and I'll give it to you, because it's not worth any effort beyond that.
So you say that, but you have to understand that I also have driven up to District East just to pick up IC before. I've driven to Hagerstown just to get Primanti's, and I live in Reston. So
and Primanti's is a little more understanding. People who love Primanti's love Primanti's. I was never a huge Primanti Brothers fan.
I'm in the middle. I like the fries, but I need an equivalency. It can't just be fries and pure sauerkraut half the time for half the sandwich.
Coleslaw.
Yeah, or sour. Excuse me.
Very different.
Thank you.
I went to the Winter Classic. That was a while ago now. With the whenever we're recording stuff in person, there's another person named Graham. I haven't really gotten to criticize him much because he's not here when I'm recording virtually. He's a real good friend of mine. We've worked with each other the whole time we've been at the paper. He's a huge hockey fan. Mm-hmm. He grew up in this area, so obviously he's a Caps fan. He went up to Pittsburgh with me to go to the Winter Classic. And what are you grimacing about? The stupid Caps won that game.
I still hate the Penguins.
Excuse you.
Same.
Well, anyway, so there's a Primanti Brothers inside of Heinz Field where the Winter Classic was held. And we were standing in separate lines, so people had no idea that we were together, because I don't even think we were really talking that much to each other, because my brother-in-law was with us also, and I was talking to him. We got up the order at the 2 registers, and he's a super picky eater. So, and I'm wearing all Penguins gear. He's wearing all Caps gear. He orders a Primanti, and in case you don't know, Chelsea, which I'm assuming you're not familiar with Primanti Brothers.
No, but apparently next time I go visit my cousin, I have to get some.
Oh, yeah.
You should. It's an experience. Every sandwich, no matter what, like fish, their hamburgers, everything, have coleslaw and fries on them. So
I like that.
So like the noise that came through was that you were saying "ooh," and then I looked over like you had a big grin on your face.
My voice said exactly what her voice said.
So Graham's a super picky eater and like started dictating all the different ways that he wanted the sandwich changed. And I just turned to him and I was like, you will order it the way it is intended to be eaten. And like everyone around just looked like there was a brawl that was about to break out. Because I think he also turned and told me to go F myself. So like there's all these people that just see a guy in a Caps jersey and a guy in all Penguins gear yelling at each other about Primanti Brothers sandwiches.
So I love that because it is true. I mean, I'm guilty of it half the time. I get a little bit anxious about ordering. I got to make sure I'm making the most of the one time I'm going to get this in a while.
Well, if you go to the original location, they won't alter it.
No,
at least they wouldn't when I was growing up.
No, thankfully the one in Hagerstown is great. If you want a Primanti sandwich,
Yeah.
you want to get a pizza with it, you can get a pizza with it.
Well, that's another thing. Not knowing Primanti, they're not only does it have a stack of fries and coleslaw on it, the sandwiches themselves are humongous.
Oh yeah.
And the last time I went there, they like you order your sandwich, and they offer you then, would you like a slice of pizza on the side? Just in case you felt like you haven't done enough damage to your body with the sandwich, we also have pizza to offer you.
I don't think I could refuse that. I'd be like, yes. Yes.
That's the thing that so always around this time of year, I have a cousin that he's all diehard Pittsburgh fan. He lives in DC now. He works at the Smithsonian, and he's been on the art curatorial side. But past 8
Hey,
years,
does he know that woman who's the beer historian?
honestly, I'm not really sure. He's more abstract art, and I think specifically he's been working in the Asian American Art Museum. So I don't know if they're crossing paths. But
I want to have her as a guest. I think she'd be interesting to talk.
That would be awesome. I'd love that.
Sorry, your cousin.
Oh,
You were telling the story.
yeah. We normally always make our yearly pilgrimage up to Pittsburgh. We normally package in a Penguins game with a Steelers game. Normally it's going to be a Ravens or Browns game, just basing on the end of the year. But the big
Apparently it's going to be a Browns game this year.
But I think every year it was the same ending to every single night, and it was going to the Primanti that was in the Market Street one in the city center down in the CBD, and we always end up that one because, well, it's fairly empty, and they ran like $3 shots of Old Grandad that was your sandwich. So you get your sandwich and a $3 shot of Old Grandad. And that's the perfect way because you take your sandwich and you walk over and go watch everyone fall on their ass over on the ice skating rink right nearby. And it's a perfect Saturday night at midnight. What you want to do in the freezing cold.
It's a beautiful night.
So I'm going to continue on to my rambling stories and actually carry on what you were talking about, that Penguins and Capitals, events that go on at a stadium. You're drinking the crumbs now, Chelsea.
Oh, I wish I had a crumbs right now.
I know.
Yeah, girl.
I have so much beer in my closet of all the things I need to photograph. And they're just, yeah,
That's a weird place to keep it.
well,
I've
I've
been-
fridge for the beers I need to photograph.
I've been storing beer in my car since it's been cold out.
Yeah.
Oh
So
yeah,
all
that's
of
acceptable.
All my Hype Rose 3 is sitting out in my car because I was just like, I'm handing it out to people like candy anyways.
My my 2 refrigerators at work are both full. I'm finally making a dent in my beer cooler, but there'll be a new Dan's Jams release soon, and I will have to go get all of those, so that'll fill up that space.
I'm in the
Drink
process.
a lot because I never have extra beer at the house. Like as soon as it comes in, I drink it immediately.
Bridget, come take some beer from me because my fiance might actually break this engagement off because we bought a new house in Chantilly. We're moving in next week, and yeah, the packing process has unearthed the amount of beer that I have outside of what's been in the fridge and already taking up the space that she's been reaming me out for already. So
When we moved in March, it was a sad realization of how much glassware and booze that I have.
oh yeah,
I'm not even.
I had to have the conversation with someone
Yeah.
just because my bottle of Abraxas is from 2018 doesn't mean that it needs to be thrown away right now.
Yeah. Like that all those bottles right there are only a fraction of what is there.
I think that's the biggest thing she should be thankful about is that I don't collect anything afterwards because I tried and it didn't go well. She was like,
What do you
"Hey,
mean afterwards? Like the empty cans?
yeah." Now she
Why?
did.
That's trash now.
Oh, none of that's empty. Those are all full or mostly full. Yeah, those aren't empty bottles. Those are all bottles of whiskey and rum and gin and
That's a little.
So like I went home for Thanksgiving and like bless my brother. He's he's gotten into craft beer like just kind of since I've gotten into it. He worked with or at Precarious prior to COVID. And it's just kind of funny to me. He likes to collect the cans, and then I'm like sitting there trying to figure out like where to put all the glasses in my mom's kitchen. And it's just like, all right, these cans are empty. I'm just throwing them in the trash. Like, I don't care. Like, I was like,
Yeah,
they're
I don't keep.
in the
I don't
trash.
keep
Like, we're not doing this. Like, this is not a collector space.
Yeah, it was.
Savage.
Very
It's fine.
frat boy thing to do.
Yeah.
I don't even.
I used to keep my cans, and then I grew up.
I have
Yeah,
a wall
right.
of cans
Now I have a real house
on my desk so people can't look into my office and see if I'm there.
That's fair.
That's the only collection I have.
Yeah, I think the only cans that we have saved right now are the Hello Newman one. But that was
Those might be needed for evidence.
Chris. That was specific. So it's funny. I actually so I proposed to my fiance on the bottom of the can.
Really?
Yeah, because I don't know. I don't like to take myself seriously. I mean, I do, but I don't. There's no need for time for it. So I'd rather just cut through and just be like, hey, something fun. So I was trying to think of ways that'd be fun to propose. So I took the first run of the batch of Hello Newman cans. We were running them with Ironheart, so I just put a special message on the first case that we were going to pull for QC reasons anyways.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's but the
Did it
question.
just say, "Will you marry me," or what did it say?
It was simple. It just said, "Will you marry me?" And
You
it was
should have just let the entire run say that. There have been a whole bunch of really confused people.
I really wanted to do that. I really did, and Sean was against that.
Like that's one of the
What a-
things I
what a fun
love
room.
about. Like I love about the old mother guys is that they will do goofy and stupid stuff like that at the drop of a hat.
Exactly. Well, it's good too because I mean, like number one, if someone finds it, I love the conversation that might come afterwards.
Yeah.
And the best part is that like the whole purpose of me doing it on the can was the best way that my fiance could say, "Are you fucking kidding me?" before deciding to spend the rest of her life with me. Because the most important decision of her life was questioned with the face of Wayne Knight on it. So, and the one upsell I do want to have to that is I did propose at an overlook down in Shenandoah, right next to about a 25-foot trailer where the guy was vaping bubblegum smoke the entire time.
Nice.
So the
So
scenery,
the highest level of romance possible.
just between Wayne on a can saying, "Will you marry me?" with bubblegum smoke plumes coming into your face.
Was her response, "Are you effing kidding me?"
It was, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Okay. My wife said the same thing.
That's great. So the good thing is that I did cap it off. We went to Penn Druid Brewing afterwards, which I don't know if you know about those guys down in
Yeah.
Android.
Oh, it happened to be the release day for their 3-year spontaneously fermented, conditioned on raspberries. So it was a lovely day for at least me.
Mine was the day after a friend's wedding we stayed at a bed and breakfast, and she was completely hungover. Wow, that was a good time. I had a plan, and I was going to barrel forward through it, no matter what the circumstances were.
Apparently. I mean, it worked out for you, so it's fine.
But her response was, "Are you effing kidding me?" Because she thought, no, it was, "Are you effing with me?" Because she thought I was messing with her.
Oh.
And
That
here we
sounds
are,
like how
14
my-
years later.
Would probably go.
Is it 14 years? That's math. Yeah, it'll be 14. All right. Well, my daughter snuck in here, left the door open, and dog keeps coming through. And I think we're probably minutes away from Chelsea's best friend of my 5-year-old barreling in here. And I don't know if Chelsea's eyeballs can take any more rolling. So,
Well, my puppy can't take any more dancing, and she's like, button, 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 button.
but thank you all so much for coming on and telling me your story.
you.
Anderson, let me know when you're in Frederick. I will do my best to remember to bring some Icy Light. Wait, do you want Iron City or Icy Light? Very different beasts, but equally
I'm not on the
awful.
beach.
So I'll be honest, I'm an icy light person.
Okay.
I love the OG, but I mean, let's be honest, if I'm drinking that, I'm drinking volume.
So they have that at District East?
But District East has been stocking it, yeah.
I never.
That's where I sent my cousin. It's where I at least remember being able to pick it up in Frederick consistently.
Well, maybe I don't have to worry about getting it in Pittsburgh. Although I feel like there's an added touch to it if you get it in Pittsburgh.
Oh, absolutely. And there's honestly a much better chance that it's going to be a lot more fresh.
Is it ever fresh though?
No, not. But like I know for a fact that Norton's Beer and Wine in Vienna, like I looked at that same 30 rack that was sitting for about 6 months. So it's safe to assume some of them are.
I don't know where I have it. I have my sister-in-law gave me an Icy Light can from the 70s that has all the Pittsburgh sports teams on it for Christmas one year, but for some reason it's not in this room, which is weird. I don't know where I would have it other than in here.
It's in all the boxes that you have in storage with all your other beer cans or beer glasses.
No.
No.
I would
Good.
I would never. I have promised myself I won't let it get to the point where I have to rent storage. It's probably on the shelf somewhere, but just behind something.
It hurts.
I don't care enough to look more. So I will get you some fresh Iron City and Icy Light. Do you want some of the Mango Abomination? I think it's awful. It's just straight awful.
Like Bridget and I are just going to say yes to all of this.
All right.
Yeah, I like some shitty beer.
Well, this is right up your alley then. It checks all those marks.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you so much for your time.
Hey, Chris,
Thank you everyone for watching and listening. Oh wait, real quick though, tell everyone where they can find Mustang Sally. Where's the brewery? Where's
Oh, we're getting back to what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, we haven't talked about Mustang Sally in probably close to an hour.
right now we're only distributed within a little bit tighter circle within Northern Virginia, basically Winchester to Gainesville, up to Arlington, and DC. We're not in Maryland just yet. Hopefully going to be there in the start of 2021 and see where we're going to go from there. But yeah, check out your small local bottle shops in DC, your independents, and check out everybody in Northern
Or
Virginia.
come visit us in the brewery down in Chantilly. We've got plenty of space in our tasting room. We do have outdoor seating, and we have puppy dogs.
Absolutely. And you can watch every single flight come in to Dulles Airport over top. So,
And you can watch me dance behind the bar and behind the brewery.
That's
I do a lot of dancing. when I make
honestly,
beer.
Bridget's dancing from the brew deck it's phenomenal.
So you guys
It's
can send
excellent.
a video of that, right? Cool.
I got you, Chelsea.
Yeah.
And it's msbrewing.com, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Let's go towards Instagram.
Okay.
Website is a work
Yeah.
and project. So
And it's
No.
MS Brewing on Instagram and Facebook, right?
correct.
No, it's Mustang Brewing.
I'm bad
What's
at
that?
It's Mustang Brewing. Let me
Okay.
double check because it's Mustang Brewing.
I'll tag and link to in the
Cool, great,
description and
wonderful.
stuff
That makes me
below.
so happy. Let's see if there's a bump.
All right. As I was saying, thank you.
Hey, Chris, thanks again for having us on tonight. I really appreciate it.
Never
Absolutely.
gonna have me on any of these ever again.
What'd you say, influencer?
I said you're never gonna have me on any of these ever again.
Yeah, it's a safe bet.
Good.
Chelsea, I think we need to change it to brand invigorator.
All right. Anderson, Bridget, influencer. It was great talking to the three of you. And thank you everyone for watching and listening. Cheers.
Cheers.